Welcome, friends. Today I'll be talking about a very interesting topic, something which is very close to my heart, and that is surviving the corporate jungle. Disclaimers: all these pictures and images shown in this PPT are fictitious. Any resemblance to people known or unknown is purely coincidental and intentional, and this PPT doesn't intend to insult or hurt anyone's feeling. Having said that, why did I choose this topic? I have been MD examiners and have interacted with a lot of PG residents. I've also conducted workshops at national conferences where I've had an opportunity to talk to most of the PG residents on a one-to-one basis. And the one common thing which I came to understand from all of them was that the moment they finish their MD, they're looking for a job in a medical college as a teacher. Basically, they are not exploring the concept of working in corporate hospitals. Having worked in the government for 23 sectors and in medical colleges like AFMC, AIMS, Rishikesh, I shifted over to the corporate sector and I worked in Vedanta, the Medicity, for 5 years as the head of biochemistry, and now I am at Amrita Hospitals, which has also got a state-of-the-art end-to-end automation. I have seen the life of a medical college, I have seen the life of a corporate sector, and I want to share my experiences with you. Whenever we talk about jungles, the first image that we get is a horror image about the harsh life in the jungles. We're also scared of apex predators, that we go to the jungle and the next thing we know is these predators are going to kill us. And probably it is this fear of these apex predators and the unknown environment that we shy away from working in corporate sectors and look for a safe haven in the medical colleges. But then there's another side of the jungle also. It is so beautiful and enchanting, and there'll be such exciting places which you would miss for your life if you didn't explore. When I worked in the corporate hospital, what I figured out was that it is a very great place to work. Life is very professional. They've employed you for a specific task. They expect you to work only on the task, and there are specific persons for specific tasks. So what you do is what you have been taught to do. You get access to the latest cutting edge technology, and the pay is great, and you do get the chance to meet and travel to a lot of places. Like I had an opportunity of meeting Stan Westgard. The golden rule in a corporate hospital is the more revenue you generate for the hospital, the more is going to be your pay. So it directly linked. How much you get is proportional to what you get paid. My recommendation to all of the youngsters is spend some time in the corporate hospital. After you do your SR-ship, spend a couple of years in the corporate sector and experience the environment, and then take an informed decision whether you want to stay in the corporate or do you want to go into the medical college. Straight away jumping into a medical college makes you comfortable in that environment and probably you don't know what you're missing. And if I were to have a talk on a personal experience, after experiencing the corporate life, today I would still prefer to go to the corporate environment. Why did I come to the medical college? Because I think that is a good place for me to influence the youngsters and encourage them to enjoy life the way I did. Now, the only issue about a corporate sector is, the only issue while working in a jungle is you need to know about the apex predators and you need to how to handle them. So let's learn the survival skills in the jungle. The first apex predator is the clinician. Practically, he is the tiger in the environment. He is a person with a big clout. There's a massive superiority complex because most of them are usually super specialists. They are the patient facing and they bring the patients and the money to the hospital. If everything goes good for them, then the clinicians are very good. If things go very bad, they put the entire blame onto the lab. This is the environment in which the clinicians are working in the corporate sector. The golden thing, पानी में रहकर मगरमच्छ से बैर नहीं करना चाहिए. If you are in the water, don't fight with the crocodiles. The mistake that most of us try to do is we try to take the clinicians on head on. And this is the mistake we do, because even if we win this battle, even if we prove the clinician that they are wrong, in effect we lose, because they are the guys who are bringing the huge money into the hospital. But there's another way of looking at the whole issue. What is the major grouse of the clinicians? Reports not reaching in time, reports not consistent with the clinical profile of the patient. These are the only two things that the clinician would get perturbed and get a call back to you. Now, reports not reaching in time. See this event from the clinician's eyes. A delayed report is a wasted report. Your job in the lab is to ensure that you give the report to the clinician, and based on your report, he is going to take a clinical decision. If you can reach the reports to the clinician at this speed that he waits for your report and then manages the patient, then you're a part of the team. If he has managed the patient and your report is just adding on to his hunch or saying, yes, I expected this, then your report is wasted and then you don't have any values. So we need to work around our turnaround time. After being consistent with it, we need to try to improve it to keep reducing it. Another thing that we need to do is we need to keep discussing with the clinicians as to what do they feel about our report. Work along with them and work with the management to improve the turnaround time. Usually what we think about turnaround time is from the time the sample reaches the lab to the time we release the report, because this is something which is in our capacity. But what the clinician is interested is from the time he's ordered the test to the time he gets the results. Now, working isolation in the lab and giving a good turnaround time within the lab, but because of various issues the clinician doesn't get the report at the time that he wants to take a decision, it is a wasted report. Here we need to involve the management, and working via the management say that we have opportunities to improve the turnaround time and work with them. You will see lot of dividends. Your existence in the hospital becomes worthwhile when the clinician manages the patient on your report. And the next grouse that the clinicians usually have is that the results they get is not consistent with the clinical profile. Obviously, if I am expecting something of a patient and your report is totally tangential, obviously it's going to elicit this kind of a response. What we do is, the moment the clinician phones up and says this result is not correct, straight away we go on to defensive. We start saying that there could be errors on the pre-analytical, the sample could be wrong, the sample was delayed, and we give so many stories without even listening. First, listen to the complaint properly and ask for specifics. Clinicians generally tend to say, तुम्हारा सारा रिपोर्ट खराब है, आज का सारा रिपोर्ट गलत है. Ask for specific instances that you can work on. Believe me, when you ask for specific instances, the cribbings will drastically come down. Once he's given you an index patient, an index case where there was a problem with the result and he was not happy with it, don't try to justify it immediately. Investigate the matter thoroughly. Okay, like where is the sample, redo the sample, check up for the quality control parameters before you ran the sample, all that stuff, check back. Then go back to the doctor with facts. Go back to him with timestamps. When was the sample collected? When did it reach you? When did you process it? Show him a printout from your analyzer that you told me there was a problem with the sample at 9 o'clock. At 9:30 I reran the sample. Here's the sample and this is the value I got. After you have proved objectively that the result you generated was not wrong, now is the time you can give all the gyans. Probably it was of a different sample, probably the timing of the sample was wrong, or whatever other reasons you think of, but talk to him only when you have the facts with you. Another mistake that we do is we become very very great when we find that we are not made a mistake and this is probably 90% of the times. But if you make a mistake, go back and own up. Now that is the most important thing, because it can't be that you're 100% right. When you own up, okay, whether the clinician says anything to you or gives you two pieces of gyan because that is his moment of glory, you have infused into him the confidence that you are genuine, right? And that is where we go wrong, because we all go back to the clinician when we are right and we never own up. So you're just giving a vibe to the clinician, jo bhi hum bolenge tum to bologe, tum theek thaak ho. So if you make a mistake, do own up, there's no problem. The next issue about owning up is, when you own up, you will feel bad, you will ensure that the processes are set correctly, and this error will not happen again. So this is the most important take home message. Another thing which goes along with this statement, if a clinician gives a call, right, he needs to be very sure that in the next 1.5 hours, you are sitting in front of him with the investigations that you've done. It can't be that you pass a slander and wo to bhongta rehta hai, wo to aisa hi bolta rehta hai, and I do nothing about it. If he has raised a point, it is imperative that you go back to him and justify what has happened. If it is correct, justify it. If it is wrong, own up. The next apex predators that I would call are the patients. They are like hungry wolves, right? There are two kinds of patients. One, who have a genuine problem with your result. The result that you have given, probably the clinician has said it doesn't sync with you, or ye to galat hai and all, and then they have a genuine problem with you. There is another set of people who want to create problems, because the point is they feel that the corporate hospital is charging them too much, and if they create a shindy, if they create a noise, and if they pick up a mistake, then they can mount and put on some pressure and get some rebates. So you get these kind of patients also. It becomes their right to demand the reports because they're paying for it. Since they paid for it, we've stopped becoming doctors and we've become commodities, and you have this patient satisfaction, 5-star basis. So patient experience becomes a big thing. So these are a group of people that is a bit of a problem. Now, my suggestion is again the concept of empathy. Put yourself in the shoes of the patient. Listen to his complaint as if you had gone to the lab, you got a report, and this report was something like this. Again, take time to investigate. Convince yourself that what you've done is correct. It is only when you have investigated his complaint, you have convinced yourself that you are correct, then you can go back and be able to convince the patient. Again, talking that this could have happened and that could have happened is vague. Coming with pure evidence that what I have done is correct, like for example, if a TSH report was wrong, redo the TSH, send the same sample to another lab, show him that your report and the other report values were similar, so that you say that what we did in the lab is correct, and then you can start hypothesizing what is the problem. Please inform well in advance if there is an instrument breakdown. Now, I had an issue with tacrolimus, and when I heard it in harsh words from the patient, it really made me rethink the whole process. Now, what happens is the patient comes to the hospital at 9 o'clock, gives a sample for tacrolimus. By about 2.5 hours, the report is ready. He goes, meets the consultant, gets an opinion, and then goes back. So this patient came all the way from Rajasthan, booking up a cab to get this treatment done and go back to Rajasthan the same evening. Now, unfortunately for us, our instrument broke down. The people came to repair it, and by the time the repair was done and we ran the test, it was about 5 o'clock. And 5 o'clock when he went to meet the clinician already left, saying, come and meet me tomorrow. Now the patient came back to us to the lab, obviously quite furious, because he had to pay extra charges for retaining the cab for a day. He had to take an appointment he had to book himself in a hotel somewhere else, and the appointment with the doctor was going to be later in that day afternoon. So there was a lot of logistic issues over there, which we had not seen. What we thought was, okay, the instrument is down, we got it repaired, now it is repaired, we are giving the results. Here's a time you should have had the opportunity to talk to these people and say, look, the report is going to get delayed. Do you want to take back, or do you want us to do? Then it is his informed decision and things become fine. This is something which we miss out. The group of people that I personally find very challenging to manage is the management team. For me, they're like hyenas. Now, these MBA teams are very good at number crunching. They have pivot tables, Power Queries, Power BI. They know R and Python. They can produce some beautiful graphs and analyze the data and come back to you with information. Now, most of these people do not come to you with actionable input. They take you to the board meeting. They present facts and figures to your bosses in your presence, and more often than not, you wouldn't have had access to these figures. They put you in a tight spot. Now let's understand, their existence is by saying that you were wrong, and they exploit the fact that we are doctors. They're very proud of the fact that we are IT challenged, and that is why they can come out with all these beautiful charts and mess around with us. Invariably, this is what happens. This is the management, and because of our IT ignorance, this is where we are, and they really enjoy working it this way. Anyone who works in a corporate hospital will face this. The good part about it is that these MBA people just know two things: your turnaround time compliance and how is your NABL certification. Did you have any NCs? So if there's a good old army saying that if the enemy is in the firing range, so are you. What do I mean by that? If you can ensure that your turnaround time is very good and that you don't have any major NCs in your audits, you can keep these people at bay, right? These are only two things that they want. You provide them these two consistently, then they cannot mess around with you too much. Another thing which is very important for you is you need to hone your IT skills. Now, as doctors, we've read complex books and we've understood complex principles, and we're applying them day in and day out in our life. Learning to handle IT is absolutely a cakewalk. I have done it and I know it. Take time to hone your IT skills. Take time to fight the numbers with numbers. And these guys who were punching you previously can also be punched. And when you set this range, managing the MBA people is not a problem at all. The last apex predator, as I would call, are the NABL, NABH, JCI auditors. Now everyone is scared of the auditors. Auditors are like bears, big amount of massive power and energy. Usually these auditors is perceived as villains. Everyone dreads an audit, and if there is a NABL audit scheduled, then I believe it, for 3 months everybody is going in a spin. When an auditor gives you an NC, it is viewed as a big ego hurt. But what do the auditors tell us? The auditors are showing us how well we know our process. If we don't know our processes properly, we will not be following it. We will be left wanting, and that is the time you're going to get NCs. Another thing that we need to know is, are we acting on the results or are we trying to cover up the results? Now, what do I mean by that? You've got an EQA outlier. Did you see the EQA result as soon as it came? Did you do the corrective actions immediately and document it? Or just before the audits, you started flapping around and then covering up all the stories, creating documents? Now, if you're going to do the second way, and believe me, most of the people do that, that's when they get the problem. But if we are doing the correct thing at the correct time and documenting it the correct way, we'll never end up with a problem. If you really think hard, when the auditors give you an NC, they were genuine mistakes that you were doing. And we get frustrated because somebody else pointed it to us and we didn't see it. Well, the scope of audit is to tell you where you were deviating and what you needed to correct. So view an NC of an audit as a scope for improvement. You should seize that opportunity as a scope of improvement and build up from there rather than take it personally to your ego. You may get some NCs right now, it's okay, but if you get the same NC the next time, you're definitely in the wrong track. You need to pull up your socks. What to do? Read the QC manual properly. Now everyone goes to the hospital, starts off with I have to release the reports, I have to check the quality, and that's about it. You check the QCs, you validate the reports, you're quite happy with it. We don't read the manual. Nobody reads the manual. Manual is just pulled out and dusted before the audit. Please read the manual properly. Do as it is written. Do it when it needs to be done. Don't let the work accumulate and then do it. Like I gave you the example of the EQA report for IQC. If you've got an outlier, correct it then and there. If there was a new lot, do the lot verification, sign off the validation of the lot verification the same day that the kit was commissioned. What we do is we don't take a feedback as to when the new lot came, and at the end of the month the guys put you the document for lot verification. Now that's a failure model. You have to create a system where whenever a lot verification is done, the document is signed off the same time, and that's when you will be doing the thing as and when it is supposed to be done. You will not create any backlogs. The biggest mistake that I used to do for a long time, and it came to me as a revelation which I want to share up with you, NABL is not about quality reports. We all think that the job of a NABL accredited lab is that our report should be accurate, precise, and wherever you challenge my report, the report will be correct. But that is not NABL. NABL is about quality processes. If your processes are correct, if your lab is running on a process-based system, if everyone follows the process as the way it is supposed to be done, the byproduct of quality process is quality report. Let me once again say that if we have quality processes, everybody knows what is the quality process, everybody follows the quality process, the results that you generate from the lab will be quality automatically. What is quality process? The day a new lot is reached, the lab in charge should be informed that a new lot has come. The lot verification should be done. The lot verification report should be signed off. The lot verification report should be filed. Okay. If you do this before doing the first patient sample on that lot, that is quality processes. If you have quality processes, the quality report is a byproduct of it. But if you focus only on the quality results without doing the processes, it will be person dependent. As long as you are there, maybe the result quality is good, but if you move off and somebody else sits, all the reports will go wonky. Now that shouldn't happen. The day you realize this golden truth, that day your lab will work smooth. So who is the lion of the jungle? I am the lion of the jungle. It doesn't matter what I am. What matters is how I see what I am. We need to think that we are lions. We need to be convinced ourselves that we are part of the patient care system. We need to realize that we are not inferior or subservient to the clinicians. Everybody has his role, and my role is equally important, because all the front-facing doctors who talk a lot about bringing money to the hospital, they can't manage patients without our report. And if they are totally dependent upon our reports to manage their patient, we also become a part of the patient management system. First, we need to get convinced about this. Then we can let the environment know what we feel. I'll tell you a small Jataka tales. There was this herd of buffaloes. The lion wanted to eat the herd of buffaloes, but whenever the lion attacked the buffaloes, they would drive the lion away. Then the lion called his trusted jackal and said, do something to help me get the lions. So what did the jackal do? It spread discontent between the buffaloes. So they stopped becoming a unit. They were independent. Okay, they didn't see eye to eye with each other. And that's when the lion was able to attack them. I'll tell you the same Jataka story again. These buffaloes are the people working in the lab. Now, for the clinicians, the lab is a single unit. Whether you're a pathologist, a microbiologist, a biochemist, a hematologist, for them, lab is a single unit. Who is the lion? The lion is the apex predator, the clinicians. As long as the people in the lab are united, none of the clinicians will be able to mess up with the lab. But then what does the lion do? It calls its trusted helper. Now, who are these guys? These are the MBA people who come and take us to how much money did you earn? This person is getting more revenue to the hospital. That person's stat is great. You are the best oncopathologist. You are the best hematologist. You are a flow cytometer expert. By doing that, they give you a title and take away the title that you are a part of the lab. They try to make you feel you are a separate being. You are above the others. And what they're doing in that process is ensuring that you're all split, you're all non-homogeneous, and you become an easy prey for them. So if we want to survive the corporate jungle, apart from being professionally excellent, we should also stay cohesive so that we don't become isolated and prey for the apex predators. As I said before, my take is do your SRship soon after your MD. Before joining a medical college, please work in a corporate sector for a few years and then take a call. Do you want to be in the teaching line or do you want to be in the corporate sector? If you take me as a personal example, I would rather prefer to be in a corporate sector rather than a teaching line. Don't run into a medical college as the first choice. After 8 years, you're going to become a professor and you're going to stay there in the position for the whole life. You can afford to experiment with 2 years. God bless you all.